Are you ready?
When you pick a target in politics,
All right, I'm ready.
you should really think about the consequences. The Downing Street briefing blaming former Chief of Staff Dominic Cummings for leaking the Prime Minister's text messages has rebounded in spectacular fashion, as Mr Cummings lashed out with a series of allegations. On the original accusation of leaking texts between the Prime Minister and James Dyson, Cummings says he never even had the leaked messages. And he directly accuses Number 10's Director of Communications, Jack Doyle, of making false accusations about him at the Prime Minister's request. So, does Boris Johnson deny it?
It was the right thing to procure those ventilators and to have that interaction with Dyson in the way that we did.
But
and I would do.
Do you think he was the source?
I would do the same thing.
Do you think he was the source of that leak?
I don't think people care. What they care about is.
That's not really an answer.
What was I doing back in March of last year? And people have attacked me for that.
But did you finger him as the source of that leak?
I don't think people give a monkey's.
Mr Cummings also claims the Prime Minister considered blocking an inquiry to save a friend of his fiancée, Carrie Simons. After plans for the November lockdown were leaked, forcing Number 10 to bring it forward, Cummings says a leak inquiry was narrowing in on another political advisor when the Prime Minister said to him, "This will cause me very serious problems with Carrie as their best friends. Perhaps we could get the Cabinet Secretary to stop the leak inquiry? I told him that this was mad and totally unethical," says Mr Cummings. Tonight, Number 10 simply said the Prime Minister has never interfered in a government leak inquiry.
We've had weeks and weeks of serious allegations of sleaze and cronyism and corruption levelled at the government. Now we've got senior Number 10 figures fighting like rats in a sack. And I think the important thing now is that the really serious allegations that have been made against Boris Johnson himself by Dominic Cummings are investigated.
Cummings also says the Prime Minister wanted to redecorate his Downing Street flat with money from Tory donors. Cummings says, "I told him I thought his plans to have donors secretly pay for the renovation were unethical, foolish, possibly illegal, and almost certainly broke the rules on proper disclosure of political donations if conducted in the way he intended." Now, in response to that, a Downing Street spokesperson said that at all times, ministers had acted in accordance with codes of conduct and electoral law, adding that official advice had been taken and all donations, gifts and benefits declared. They didn't quite say the discussion had never taken place, although earlier they announced that the Prime Minister had paid for the redecoration of the flat out of his own pocket. Mr Cummings, who left Downing Street in November, finishes by saying it's sad to see the Prime Minister and his office fall so far below the standards of competence and integrity the country deserves. The wisdom of levelling an attack on a former colleague with time on his hands and a grudge also looks questionable. Carl Dinnan, News at 10, Westminster.